Welcome to a journey back in time, returning to the fiery summer of 1958 in Sweden. That was the year the football world witnessed the birth of a completely new concept, Joga Bonito, the beautiful game. After the pain of the Maracanazo in 1950, the Brazilian national team brought to Northern Europe a generation of exceptionally talented players, men who did not just play football but danced with the ball. They attacked with fire, full of improvisation yet incredibly effective, lifting Brazil to the top of the world for the first time after a 5-2 victory over the hosts, Sweden, in the final. But when the stage lights dimmed, when the cheers in the stands faded into the past, the heroes of that year returned to real life. Nearly 70 years have passed, and fate has pushed them down very different paths. Some became immortal legends, while others faded into oblivion and tragedy. Today, let us look back at the tumultuous lives of the 15 most outstanding faces in Brazil's golden squad of 1958. Pelé, Edson Arantes do Nascimento. Forward. In the 1958 Brazil squad, Pelé was not just a player, he was a phenomenon, a promise of destiny. Arriving in Sweden at just 17 years old, carrying a knee injury and the anxieties of a boy away from home for the first time, Pelé suddenly shone bright to become the king, with 6 goals in 4 matches, including a hat-trick against France and a brace in the final. The teenager displayed a level of football the world had never seen. Speed, supreme technique, and a cold-blooded killer instinct. The image of Pelé weeping uncontrollably on goalkeeper Gilmar's shoulder after the final became a symbol of innocence and ultimate glory. After that historic summer, Pelé's life became the greatest chronicle in football history. He went on to conquer 2 more World Cups in 1962 and 1970, becoming the only player in history to lift the Golden Trophy 3 times. His entire career was linked with Santos FC, where he scored over 1,000 goals and turned the club into a global terror, before creating a football fever in the U.S. with the New York Cosmos. Off the pitch, Pelé was a global ambassador, a minister of sports, and a cultural icon transcending all borders. He lived in brilliant aura, welcomed by U.S. presidents, the Queen of England, and the Pope. Although his private life had its ups and downs with multiple marriages and children, Pelé always maintained the image of a model king of football, always beaming before the public. He fought old age and illness with incredible optimism, always affirming his undying love for the ball. However, the journey of the king of football also had to come to an end. After a long and brave battle with colon cancer, the heart of the greatest legend in football history stopped beating on December 29, 2022. At the age of 82, his passing caused the whole world to mourn, but the legacy Pelé left behind is eternal. He was not just a player, he was football. Garrincha, Manuel Francisco dos Santos, winger. If Pelé was the king, then Garrincha was the joy of the people. In the 1958 squad, Garrincha started from the bench but ended the tournament as a nightmare for every defense. With legs deformed by birth defects, his left leg bent outwards, his right leg bent inwards, he turned that defect into a deadly weapon. Garrincha's dazzling dribbles and cutbacks that defied the laws of physics on the right flank tore apart every European tactical system. He played like a child, full of innocence and spontaneity, turning opposing defenders into reluctant clowns. After the glory in Sweden, Garrincha continued to be the soul that helped Brazil defend the crown in 1962 when Pelé was injured. However, contrary to his brilliant career on the pitch, Garrincha's life was a series of prolonged tragedies. Away from the field, he was a man innocent to the point of pitifulness, unable to manage finances and easily exploited. His personal life was stormy, featuring a scandalous romance with singer Elza Soares, broken marriages, and the burden of raising many children. Sadly, the artist of the pitch turned to alcohol to drown his sorrows. Alcohol ravaged his body, turning the angel with bent legs into a gaunt shadow, struggling with cirrhosis and extreme loneliness when the limelight faded. And then, tragedy came too soon. On January 20, 1983, Garrincha passed away in poverty and illness at a charity hospital, at only 49 years of age. His departure was an aching pain for Brazilian football, a bitter reminder of the fate of fallen geniuses. Millions took to the streets to see him off, because to them, Garrincha remains the purest joy that football has ever brought. Didi, Valdir Pereira, central midfielder. Didi, nicknamed the Black Prince, was the brain, the chief architect of Brazil's gameplay in 1958. At 29, he brought extraordinary calm and wisdom to the midfield. Didi was the tempo setter, the distributor, and the author of the famous falling leaf, folha seca, free kick, which made the ball change direction suddenly to baffle goalkeepers. It was Didi's masterful command that helped young talents like Pelé and Garrincha shine brightly, and the Player of the Tournament award that year was a worthy recognition of his overarching influence. After the 1958 World Cup, Didi became the first black player to play for the mighty Real Madrid, playing alongside Di Stefano and Puskás. Although his time in Spain was not as successful as expected due to internal conflicts, Didi returned to Brazil and continued to achieve success with Botafogo. When he hung up his boots, he moved into a coaching career and left a bold mark, especially when leading the Peru national team to the quarterfinals of the 1970 World Cup, facing his own homeland. Didi is always remembered as a gentleman of football, a dedicated teacher who was always concerned with developing the beautiful game. He lived a respected life, fully dedicated to tactical thinking and youth training. However, the laws of life and death spare no one. On May 12, 2001, Didi breathed his last in Rio de Janeiro at the age of 72 following complications from surgery and cancer. The passing of the Black Prince took with it the secret of those divine free kicks, but his intellect and dignified demeanor remain a standard for playmakers to this day. Vava, Edvaldo Isidio Neto. Forward. Vava, nicknamed Peito de Aço, steel chest, was the sharpest spearhead in Brazil's attack in 1958. With 5 goals, including a crucial brace against Sweden in the final. Vava proved himself to be a classic center forward. Strong, decisive, and always in the right place at the right time. He was not as flashy as Pelé or Garrincha, but his ferocity, ability to hold up play, and one-touch finishing were the perfect pieces to convert chances into goals. He was the silent but incredibly effective hero of the Seleção. Vava's career continued to flourish as he became the first player in history to score in 2 consecutive World Cup finals, 1958 and 1962, a record that took ages for anyone to match. He drifted through many big clubs from Vasco da Gama and Palmeiras to Atletico Madrid in Spain and even Mexico, proving his excellent adaptability. After retiring, Vava tried his hand at coaching but did not achieve as much glory as during his playing days. He chose a rather quiet life, staying away from media noise, enjoying peaceful days with his family, and occasionally appearing at Brazilian football anniversary events. However, the journey of the steel-chest hero stopped on January 19, 2002. Vava passed away from heart failure at the age of 67. Although not mentioned as much as other legendary teammates in the mass media, in the hearts of Brazilian football lovers, Vava forever remains a symbol of resilient fighting spirit and a knack for scoring in big matches. Mario Zagallo, left winger. Mario Zagallo at the 1958 World Cup was the embodiment of diligence and tactical thinking ahead of his time. Although starting as a left winger, Zagallo not only knew how to attack but also actively tracked back to support the defense, creating balance for Brazil's super-attacking formation. He scored the goal that sealed the 5-2 score in the final, but his greatest contribution was his silent sacrifice, setting the stage for the stars to shine. Zagallo was the one who defined the role of the modern winger. Zagallo's life was linked to the number 13 and the yellow-green jersey of the Brazilian team more than anyone else. He was the first person to win the World Cup as both a player 1958, 1962, and a manager 1970, as well as an assistant manager 1994. The old Wolf Zagallo dedicated his entire life to football, becoming a great strategist with a strong personality and passionate patriotism. He was famous for his memorable quotes and intense spiritual beliefs. Despite his old age and frail health, people still saw him in the stands, watching every step of the younger generation with eyes full of fiery enthusiasm. However, that enduring flame eventually had to go out. On January 5, 2024, Mario Zagallo passed away at the age of 92, closing a glorious chapter in Brazilian football history. He was the last living witness of the starting lineup of the 1958 final, and his departure marked the complete end of a golden era. Nilton Santos, left back. Nilton Santos, known as the Encyclopedia of Football, was the man who revolutionized the fullback position at the 1958 World Cup. At 33, he was the oldest in the squad but played with the most youthful mindset. Nilton did not just defend, he frequently surged forward to attack, scoring a crucial goal against Austria even as the coach screamed for him to fall back. His intelligence, exquisite individual technique, and ability to read the game turned Brazil's left flank into a dangerous drill, laying the foundation for the concept of the attacking fullback. Nilton Santos's entire career was bound to a single love: Botafogo. He was a symbol of loyalty, playing at the top level until the age of 40. Off the field, Nilton was a polite, intellectual man respected by everyone for his exemplary lifestyle. He cared not for fame or fortune, always regarding football as joy and art. However, in the final years of his life, fate tested him with cruel Alzheimer's disease. It was heartbreaking as the encyclopedia gradually forgot the heroic memories he himself had written, forgot his teammates, and the historic matches. On November 27, 2013, Nilton Santos passed away due to complications from a lung infection and heart failure at the age of 88. Although his memory may have faded in his final years, the world's memory of the greatest left back of all time named Nilton Santos will never be forgotten. Guilmar dos Santos Neves, goalkeeper. In a squad full of attacking artists, Guilmar dos Santos Neves was the calmest and most solid wall. At the 1958 World Cup, he kept a clean sheet in the first 4 matches and only conceded in the semi-final and final. Guilmar's elegant playing style, excellent reflexes, and ability to command the defense provided absolute peace of mind for his teammates upfield to unleash their creativity. He is considered the greatest goalkeeper in Brazilian football history, the man who erased prejudices about black goalkeepers at that time. Guilmar's career was linked to the golden era of Santos FC alongside Pelé, where he won every noble club title. He continued to be the reliable stopgap, helping Brazil win the 1962 World Cup. After retiring, Guilmar became a successful businessman and lived a peaceful life, avoiding scandals. He always maintained the demeanor of a gentleman, from the pitch to real life, always humble when talking about his achievements and reserving praise for his teammates. However, severe illness struck down the giant in the goal. Guilmar passed away on August 25, 2013, just days after his 83rd birthday, following the consequences of a heart attack and stroke. His passing occurred in the same year as his teammate Nilton Santos, leaving infinite grief for fans over a golden generation gradually fading away. Hilderaldo Bellini, center-back, captain. Hilderaldo Bellini was not just a steel center-back, he was the spiritual leader, the authoritative captain of Brazil in 1958. With a statue-like physique and a face handsome as a movie star, Bellini was the rock in the defense, ready to clash and cover for the surging fullbacks. The historic moment when he received the jewel-remade trophy from the King of Sweden and raised it high above his head for photographers inadvertently created an immortal tradition for captains thereafter. After the glory of 1958, Bellini continued to play for Vasco da Gama and Sao Paulo, and even participated in the 1962 and 1966 World Cups. After retiring, he ran private businesses and participated in youth football development activities. He was always remembered as a family man, living responsibly and full of affection. But like many other former players, Bellini faced Alzheimer's disease for nearly the last 20 years of his life. The disease took away the memory of the strong captain of yesteryear, causing him to gradually lose cognitive awareness of the world around him. On March 20, 2014, the heart of the great Captain Hilderaldo Bellini stopped beating at the age of 83. He departed, but the image of the Bellini statue raising the golden cup in front of the Maracanazo stadium will forever be an immortal symbol of Brazilian football's aspiration to reach the top. Zito, José Eli de Miranda, defensive midfielder. Zito was the silent hero, the diligent cleaner in Brazil's midfield in 1958. If Didi was the artist, then Zito was the warrior protecting that artist to shine. Zito's strong playing style, unafraid of collisions but also full of intelligence, created a solid shield in front of the defense. He was also known as a natural leader, one who frequently shouted, directed, and boosted the morale of his teammates, especially in mentoring the kid Pelé at both the national team and Santos club level. sticking his entire career with Santos. Zito was an indispensable factor in the club's golden era. After hanging up his boots, he continued to serve Santos in a management and talent scouting role. It was Zito's keen eye that discovered and brought stars like Robinho and Neymar to light. He lived a simple life, dedicated to football until his final days, always a respected grandfather and teacher to generations of young players at Santos. However, age and declining health took him away. On June 14, 2015, Zito passed away at his home at the age of 82. His departure left a large void at Santos, where he was considered a great spiritual father. Joga Santos, right back. The story of Joga Santos at the 1958 World Cup is a strange one. He only started the final match replacing De Sordi, but his ecstatic performance in that game was so excellent that he was voted into the all-star team of the entire tournament. Joga Santos was the model of a complete defender. Tight defense, abundant physical strength, and an ability to support attacks no less than a midfielder. He is considered one of the best right-backs in world football history. Joga Santos's career lasted incredibly long. He played at the top level until he was over 40 and attended 4 World Cups. He wore the shirts of Portuguesa, Palmeiras, and Atlético Paranaense, always maintaining stable form and a healthy lifestyle, free of alcohol. Off the field, he was famous as a gentle, funny man who always wore a smile. After retiring, he opened a football school for children in southern Brazil and lived peaceful, happy days with his family, loved by the community. However, the journey of this legend stopped on July 23, 2013, at the age of 84 due to severe pneumonia. Joga Santos passed away, leaving a legacy of professionalism and proof that sometimes it only takes one match to become a legend. Orlando Peçanha, center-back. Orlando Peçanha paired with Bellini to create Brazil's steel center-back duo in 1958. With a calm playing style, excellent situational judgment, and skillful individual technique rare for a center-back of that time, Orlando was a reliable stopper. He played the full 6 matches, contributing greatly to the home team's impressive defensive record. After the World Cup, Orlando made a bold decision to move to play for Boca Juniors in Argentina, where he became an idol and the captain of the team. A rare feat for a Brazilian player. After retiring, he became a coach and later the president of the Brazilian Football Coaches Association. Orlando was a man of sharp thinking, always concerned about the rights of players and coaches. On February 10, 2010, Orlando Peçanha passed away at the age of 74 due to heart failure. His passing was a great loss for the South American football community, where he was respected in both rival footballing nations, Brazil and Argentina. Nilton de Sordi, right back. Nilton de Sordi was a key factor on Brazil's right flank throughout the journey to the 1958 final. He started the first 5 matches with stable form, solid defense, and discipline. However, ironic fate caused him to suffer an injury right before the final, forcing him to give up his place to Joga Santos. Although he did not play the final game, de Sordi's contribution to the Golden Trophy is undeniable. He is a legend of Sao Paulo FC, where he dedicated most of his career. De Sordi was known as a diligent, humble defender who always put the collective interest above all else. After retiring, he chose a quiet life in a small town, coaching local teams and staying away from the glitz. He was content with his role as a silent hero. De Sordi passed away on August 24, 2013, at the age of 82 due to Parkinson's disease, in the same year as many other legendary teammates. Although mentioned less often than Joga Santos, São Paulo and Brazil fans always remember his contributions. José Altafini, Mazzola, forward. José Altafini, also known as Mazzola, due to his resemblance to Italian legend Valentino Mazzola, was a promising 19-year-old talent at the 1958 World Cup. He started 3 group stage matches and scored 2 goals, demonstrating strength and excellent sweeping ability. However, the explosion of Pelé and Vava in the later stages cost him his starting spot. Nevertheless, Mazzola remains an important part of history. After the tournament, Altafini went to Italy to play for AC Milan, Napoli, and Juventus, becoming one of the greatest scorers in Serie A history. He even naturalized and played for the Italian national team at the 1962 World Cup, something that made him considered a traitor in the eyes of some Brazilian fans at the time. After retiring, he became a famous football commentator on Italian television with a humorous style and immortal commentary phrases. Today, at the age of 87 in 2026, José Altafini is still living healthily in Italy. He is one of the very few living witnesses left of the 1958 tournament. Although holding 2 nationalities and 2 national jerseys, deep down, he is still proud of his Brazilian roots and his first World Cup gold medal. Joel Antonio Martins, right winger. Joel was the #1 choice on Brazil's right wing in the first 2 matches of the 1958 World Cup before giving way to the genius Garrincha. He was a skillful, intelligent winger with good playmaking ability. Although he lost his official spot, Joel never complained but always supported his teammates, showing admirable professional spirit. He is a legend of Flamengo, loved for his technical play and dedication. After retiring, Joel worked on Flamengo's coaching staff, training young players. He lived a simple life, attached to community football, and always kept a gentle smile. However, Joel's journey ended on January 1, 2003, at the age of 71 due to liver failure. He departed quietly, just as he had played, but his contribution to the beginning of the championship journey is always cherished. Dino Sani, central midfielder. Dino Sani was the man who paired with Didi in the center of midfield in the first 2 matches of the 1958 World Cup. With intelligent play, accurate passing ability, and good tactical vision, he was a class playmaker. Later, due to injury and tactical changes, he gave up his position to Zito but remained a quality backup option. After the World Cup, Dino Sani had a brilliant career at AC Milan, where he was considered one of the best midfielders in the club's history, helping Milan win the European Cup. He later became a successful coach, leading many big teams in Brazil and South America. He was famous as a strict, disciplined man with profound tactical thinking. Currently, at the age of 93 in 2026, Dino Sani is one of the rare great old trees left standing. He lives reclusively but remains lucid, occasionally sharing precious memories of football's golden age, serving as a living bridge between a glorious past and the present.